Welcome back to the page, guys. I hope you're all well. So the last time we were talking about Rachel's Passat behind me, we were explaining that we've got a suspected worn camshaft along with a worn lifter. So we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to grab the tools, we're going to get cracking, and we're going to see exactly what is wrong with Rachel's Passat. So after removing the rocker cover and gaining access to the injector rocker arms, we could get those removed, and with those off and out the way, we then removed the air filter, the intake pipe work, along with the battery. Next, we removed the top boost pipe along with the fuel filter housing and the coolant reservoir, allowing access to the engine mount to get that unbolted and pulled out of the way as well. Next up, we got the cam pinned into place at top dead center, and with that locked into place, we could then release the belt tension via the belt tensioner and then remove the cam belt itself. So with that all off, we now moved on to the high pressure fuel pump along with the vacuum pump. And always remember, when you pull off the line that goes to the servo, that you don't lose this little seal, as without it you are going to be in a world of pain. So with that all unbolted and removed, we could then crack off the cam cap bolts, get them pulled out, get those removed, and then we could finally remove that worn out, chewed up camshaft, followed by the worn out and chewed up buckets. Now, as you can see, the buckets have worn heavily and one of them has completely worn through to the spring. So after giving everything a good clean up and making sure that there was no debris left in the head, we've got the new set of buckets fitted into the head, the new bearings fitted into the caps, a new cam seal onto the new camshaft along with the original pulley, and then we could finally get that new cam dropped into the head. So with the new camshaft in place along with those new bearings, we got everything fastened down using the correct torque settings, and after fitting a new gasket to the vacuum and the fuel pump, we got that bolted back into place as well. Now after a bit of a fight, we finally got the cam belt back on, retensioned and torqued to spec, and with everything timed up and lined up, we could then refit the engine mounts, the fuel filter housing along with the pipe work, and I did refit the coolant reservoir at this point, just like a bit of a tit, I forgot to record it. So with all that back on and refitted, we could then refit the injector rocker arms along with a new set of bolts and getting those clicked down to spec as well. Now after a quick clean up of the head, we could get the rocker cover back on, get that clicked and torqued to spec as well to ensure that there'd be no leaks. And then finally we could move on to getting the top boost pipe refitted along with the battery and the intake pipe work along with the air filter. Then we moved on to refilling the cooling system with some fresh coolant. But before we started the engine, we did drain out that old oil, remove the old oil filter, give it a quick inspection to make sure that there was no debris in there and that there was no contamination going to be left inside the engine. Once we were happy, we refitted the new filter along with a new seal, got the sump plug back in and refilled the engine with some fresh oil. Then finally, last but not least, a quick wipe down, and then we could finally start up the Passat. And if you take a listen now, we've got no more rattling sound coming from this engine. So there we go, that's Rachel's Passat all back up and running after having a new camshaft along with a new seal, a new gasket for the tandem pump, all new bolts throughout which we've torqued down to spec, and we've also replaced the lifters. As you'd have seen, one of them did have a hole in it and that was what was causing the knocking sound. So now that the car's up and running, all I've got left to do is to wash my hands. I can jump in there, take it for a test drive, and so long as it's all good, Rachel can come and get it collected. So if this is the kind of content you like seeing and you're not already following the page, make sure you click that follow button. If you're already following the page, make sure you click that like button, and I can assure you that there's going to be plenty more content like this to see. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for following, all together, fucking mint.